Welcome back to our online webinars on how to use the Market Maker trading system. Within this module, we're going to learn a little bit more about the charting functionality and how we can apply this to all the different 3,500 plus instruments being offered through the system. On the screen at the moment, you'll currently see a UK 100 index chart of a 1-year daily candlestick formation. Now, let's say we wanted to bring up a chart of the US 30. To bring up a chart on any instrument, all you simply need to do is right-click on that instrument and click on Display Chart. And at the moment, the way I've got it set up is that each time I bring up a chart, it will bring up a 3-month daily candlestick formation. Alright, so let's have a look at the functionality. Well, on the left-hand side, you'll start to see the different styles of charts that we have on offer. So for example, we have line charts, bar charts, mountain charts, point and figure, Renko, KG, etc. But for example, if you're interested more in mountain charts or bar charts, simply click on the function and it will then populate the chart the way that you want to see it. So let's go back to candlesticks. Underneath there we've got a number of other different options. The first one is our settings. Now our settings enable us to put on either horizontal or vertical grid lines. We can either have dashed lines, coloured lines. We can set up and extend the chart so it goes into the future. We can put a dynamic line on to show us the current price being offered. We can also change the axis to a linear, percentage or a log. And the last one there being our cursor. So at the moment we've got it set on a crosshair. Let's say we didn't want any cursor on there. Simply click on none and the cursor will disappear. The second couple of options are that you can add studies and oscillators to your charts. The first one is your studies. For some technical analysts, they like to add indications onto the chart as to when there are possible buy and sell recommendations. So for example, simple moving averages are something that many analysts like to put on their charts. All we need to do is go down to simple moving averages, click on the box, and a preloaded 20-day moving average will populate onto our chart. Now with any of the indicators you can fully customize these. So for example, in the top left hand corner of the screen you've got SMA and it's a 20-day. To change this, simply click on it and a properties windows box will appear. So let's say we wanted to make that a 50-day moving average. And the current black line, well, it's a little bit too small for me, so I'd like to change the width, and I'd also like to change the color so I can see it a little bit more easily. Click on done, and now we have a 50-day moving average applied to our chart. If I wanted to add multiple moving averages, all I need to do is simply click on this blue box with the red cog on it. By clicking on this, it will come up with the Studies Manager. Simply click on the Select Study, click on Simple Moving Average. And let's say we wanted to keep the 20-day moving average, add that to the list, and then click on Done. Now you'll see that we have a 50-day moving average as well as a 20-day moving average on our chart. Again, we can alter the 20-day moving average. Let's say we wanted to make that gold, slightly wider so we can see it, and then click on Done. Okay, so now we've got two moving averages on the screen, which enable us then to decide on the crossover points for potential buy or sell recommendations. You've also got Bollinger Bands, you've got linear regression models, you've got pivot points, etc. So any of these indicators that you'd like to add on, simply click on the option available and then it will populate onto the chart on the right hand side. To remove it, again just uncheck the box and it will remove itself from the system. The other option is oscillators. Many of you might add MACD and RSI indicators to your charts, even stochastic trends. To do that, all we need to do is click on the checkbox next to it and again it will populate in the bottom section of the chart. Studies will populate over the chart, or oscillators will populate down the bottom of the chart. So again, two that I use on a regular basis are MACD and RSI. Put them in the system and again they'll populate down the bottom. Now the stock standard formulas used for these indicators are preloaded into the system, but again if you wish to alter these, all you need to do is go to the function up the top and it will bring up a study properties window. So we could change the fast moving average or the slow moving average, we can change the lagging period, we can change the colors, we can do what we want, click on done, and those changes will be applied. The same with the RSI, for example. If we wanted to change the upper limits, we can go into our overbought and oversold lines, click on overbought, and then we can change that value to 80, for example. Click on done, and then you'll notice that the line down the bottom has moved from a 70% overbought signal now to an 80% overbought signal. Okay, again, to add any of these others like average true range, historical volatility, MACD simplified, etc., simply click the checkbox and they will populate down the bottom of the chart. Okay, so let's close these off. Again, you can click on the X next to the MACD indicator and the RSI. And once we're happy with using this section on the left-hand side, click on this grey tab and we're back to our full chart so we can see it just that little bit more clearly. Alright, so let's have a look at some of the other options. In the top section we've got 3-month daily. We can change that information to, let's say, the last 10 years, or if we want to have a look at a closer view, we can change that to 1 week, and then it preloads it with 30-minute candlestick formations. So each of the candles on this chart will show the last 30 minutes worth of information. And what we notice at the moment, since the beginning of this last week, we've seen a rise of on the Dow from 7,800 up to a price of 8,303 that it's currently trading at. And it will update in real time. So as the markets move, so will the value within these charts. But as a pure technical analyst, I also like to put on any potential support and resistance, trend lines, etc. onto my charts. So I might first of all like to go and have a look at the last 1 year's worth of data. So I bring up a 1-year chart, and then I bring up the options in this little pen line. So I can add my trend lines, my horizontal support and resistance. I can add Fibonacci retracements if you use that particular indicator. I can add Gann fans, RAF channels, vertical lines, etc. simply by clicking on this little icon at the top. Click on the trend line, go to the point that we wish to place the trend line on, and then release it from there. So again, to customize the properties within these, again, right click, configure the item, and it will come up with these different options. So again, we could change the color, we can change the width, click on done, and now we've changed the properties within the screen. To delete this, just right click, delete the item, and then again it will remove itself from the chart. If you want to add multiple trend lines onto the chart, well, when you click that particular option, if you click on the little pin next to it, you can add as many different trend lines as you like until you're happy with it. Unclick the box, and then we're back simply to the cursor. The next box there just enables us to delete the information as a group, so we could delete all the different functions we've added to the chart, or delete things individually. Comes up with an X, delete the trend line, and again it will disappear. Some of us like to share our information or our analysis with friends. What we can do is we can copy or save this image as a file to either email out to a friend for analysis or a broker. So you can copy that, you can save the image, and you can also print the image so you can refer back to it later. The last two options there show us how we can hide the drawings. So if we've drawn any drawings onto the chart, we can hide it. We can hide the studies. To bring them back, simply uncheck the box and they'll reappear onto the screen. This last function will give us a lot of different options that we can bring onto our charts. We can either save templates so that they will preload every time we bring up a chart. We can set default templates. We can even change the color and the font settings that appear on the chart. So at the moment, the current settings show us the text color, the background color, the chart background color, etc. So if we wanted to change this, all we need to do is click on the instrument. Let's say we want the background color to be a green. Click OK, and our background color will now be green. If you wanted to change the font or the size of text on the right hand side, well, we can go down to the font. Let's say we want it 14, click on done, and you'll start to see the numbers on the right hand side are now slightly bigger, and also down the bottom. Okay, but the one that's more interesting is, let's say I always bring up my MACD and RSI indicators when I'm bringing up a chart. Go to MACD, bring up RSI. I'll leave the indicators on there as well. Now what I want to do is save this as a template. So I simply go to Save Template, name it what I want to name, so let's say MACD RSI, and I want to set this as my default layout. Click Save. Now when I close this down, if I bring up a chart, let's say of gold versus US dollar, what will actually happen is the chart will populate with the exact same parameters that we just set. So for example, we've got our 2 moving averages, our MACD, and also our RSI. If you've drawn a number of trend lines or support and resistance lines onto your chart and you wish to save that information, you'll need to save that as part of your layout. So for example, if we put a trend line down here on the UK 100 index, okay, if I bring up a new chart of the UK 100 index, that trend line will not be there. So to save it for future use, all I need to do is go and File, Save Layout, and every time I bring up the general markets view again, that trend line will appear. So I don't have to redraw all my trend lines and support and resistance every time that I load up my particular market maker software. Alright, the last thing I want to show you is these icons in the top right hand corner of the chart. The first one enables us to bring up an order ticket on the particular instrument that you're trading. The second one enables us to bring up another chart. The third one enables us to create a price alert. So if a price reaches a certain level, the system will automatically generate a price alert and notify you either by email, visual alert on the system, or via a sound. The last one is just bringing up any related news to the UK 100 index. Alright, well, I hope you've learned a little bit more about how to use the charting functionality. If you have any further questions, please contact the support area or refer to the other modules within the webinars to enable you further functionality within the Market Maker system. Okay, so thank you very much for listening.